We have now gotten the first update for Fallout London, what the developers are terming as a hotfix. Good, because honestly, it's been a bit buggy. Hopefully, this hotfix will solve some issues with Fallout London, and we're going to get everything updated and installed using Mod Organizer 2. Now that we know how the full-on team is going to handle updates, this video should be applicable to all other updates going forward. So, please stand by and mind the gap. Hey everyone, it's Cal from Dirty Weasel. Before we start going over the update process, I need to make clear that this video piggybacks off my previous video, Fallout London Full Installation Mod Organizer 2. And you'll see things here that were set up in the initial installation process. So let me apologize ahead of time. There will be concepts that will be covered previously. I will be brief, but I do need to be mindful of new viewers. If you wish to see my full installation video, you can click on the on-screen link above, or you can go down to the description below for links to all my references. Well, that's out of the way, so let's get to work. And we're going to start here in Mod Organizer 2, and you can see I'm in my vanilla profile, just so you can see how everything works in a basic setup. I don't have Fallout London installed, but I do have the Fallout 4 script extender scripts for 06.23, which we need if we want to run a vanilla setup after downgrading Fallout 4 to accommodate Fallout London. You can see I also have Buffout 4. Now, when we change profiles, we'll be going to Fallout London. And you can see now I don't need the scripts for 06.23 because Fallout London has them installed. I also have Buffout 4, which I found did help with some bugs that I added to this profile and for this mod list. As we set up Mod Organizer 2 to handle London before, we are using profile-specific ini files. And you can see if you go to your profiles, use profile-specific save games, and use profile-specific ini files. And we'll go over that in time, but I wanted you to see what you're getting. So with the Fallout London version 1, you can see we have the added ESMs of London World Space, the Baka Framework ESM, which we'll go over in a second, and the London World Space DLC block ESP. That's all that is added from Fallout London. You can see clicking that on and off makes it go away. You don't see an ESP or ESM for Fallout Buffout because that is as you can see here, it's a Fallout 4 script extender plugin. So that's what Mod Organizer 2 looks like at this time. In the full installation video, we set up a file folder called GOG and then Fallout London to accommodate downloading the initial installation files off of GOG. And you can go back and see the other video on that. But that's how we got it set up, so I could find that very easily. But having a dedicated folder does play into the update process. And we'll go over that briefly. But I wanted to let you know we have a dedicated folder for Fallout London. And that is now on my desktop so I can get to it easily. Over on GOG.com, this is my Dirty Weasel Media homepage. If you go to your games that you have installed, you're going to look for Fallout London. And the reason why we're covering this is the manual installation for all the game source files, all the data files, everything else. In the initial video for installation, we covered the process of downloading all 10 of these bin files, and the one at the top is an executable. They've added an additional one that's called Patch 2.3 Revision 2 to version 1.01. And we'll go over that in a second. I have it on my desktop, but I want to show you where that's at. So if you wanted to get the source files again, download all these. If you are new to the game, you will not need to get this patch revision. You'll just need to get all 10, put them in a file folder, but you can refer back to the initial video on that. Over on the GOG desktop app, you can see I'm at my homepage. If you go to your installed games, Fallout London, you can see the page we have here. When I first opened this up, this purple button at the top here what said update. And I've not been able to revert it, get it back to say update again. So I wanted to point out that this says play currently, but if you haven't updated yet, it will say update. Next to it is the details tab. If you click on it, you'll see view patch notes version 1.01. Click on that, and that's going to tell you everything you need to know about this update. London version 1.01. Remember that. We'll use that in the future. And we'll scroll down here where it says Buffout 4 and XSE. Buffout 4 and XSE plugin preloader are now included in the newest build of Fallout London. Don't panic if you have Buffout or XSE, it will simply be replaced by the Fallout London installer. We're using Mod Organizer 2. We can simply turn them off. We don't need to uninstall them or worry about overwriting. We have removed Baka and implemented a fix to use Buffout's memory management uncapping script memory usage, which is very, very good because I didn't like Baka's implementation. Buffout's is much better. There have been some other tweaks, and those include new ini files provided for Fallout London. Good. We'll have to change those, and we'll show you how to do that. There are some notes I have on that. If you have a custom inis already for ultra-wide support, blah, 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 but you can always change them back if you know the exact edits, and we'll go over Bethany Pie once again. When we talk about the XSE plugin preloader, I'm going to pay special attention to that because I think the Fallout London team made an error, and we will go over that specifically. We can press OK and close that out. Like I said, up here in the purple button at the top, it will say update instead of play for you. Now, it's going to remember if you use the GOG desktop app to get all your files, it will remember where you download them to. In my case, I had them initially installed to the GOG folder in my G drive. So it automatically remembered that, and when I hit update, it changed all the files in here. So it basically took all the files that were in here before and replaced them with something new. So inside here, under config, you're going to have all new ini file. We're also going to get a new data folder here. And this is all your F4SE scripts and plugins. And then down here, there is something I need to point out to you. There is the London WorldSpace clearup.bat. If you read the instructions, it will instruct you on to do this. Being that we're using Mod Organizer, you do not need to run the script. I will run it so you can see what it does, but it's not super important. But everything else is here for you to do. We'll cover more what's in the data file once we get into Mod Organizer, but I want you to see it. The Fallout 4 script extender files have not changed, so there's no need to change these out in your main directory for Fallout 4 if you've already done so. This is for version 1.6.3. So you've hit update, and it's now giving you all new files with new installation dates, date modified, and it will now change to play. We are now ready to move on to Mod Organizer 2. So back in Mod Organizer 2, we are now going to be installing a few of those new data files inside here. We will not need, over here in your left pane under your mod tab, we will not need Fallout London version 1. So we can turn that off. They also say we're going to be provided with Buffout 4, so we can turn that off. If you wish, you can remove the mod, and I think I will because I have it safely secured in my Downloads tab, so I can reinstall it later on if I wanted to, but I think we will remove it. I will not be removing Buffout 4 because I do use it in a vanilla profile. So we can just leave that off in our Fallout London profile because we will need it in vanilla. In the folder that you've downloaded all your new update files, we're going to need to do a few things. We're going to start with the data folder, and this is the most important thing. If you open this up, you can see, like I said, you have F4SE, PRKF, which I'll talk about later, scripts, textures, video, XDI, which is an added mod, and all of your BA2 archives. So you can just go ahead and go back one, and we're going to make an archive just like we did before using 7-zip or WinRAR like we did in the initial installation video, which we will do right now. So let's make it an archive. We are going to rename it because this is a new version of Fallout London. Let's go Fallout _ London because we need the spaces _ v1.01. Remember we talked about the version number. So this is going to name it correctly. And we're just going to do storage because we want it nice and fast. Click OK. Okay, we're all done. You can see we now have our new archive, Fallout London _ version 1.01. That's the correct hotfix number. And we're just going to make it easy. We're just going to drag it over and drop it into our Downloads tab of Mod Organizer 2. And this will take a second. And we're all done. So we have our initial archive from the original mod, version 1, as Fallout London here. But now we've got Fallout London version 1.01. So you can install either of them. We're going to install 1.01 right now. We're just going to take it and drop it right here at the top. Fallout London version, it's kind of messing up on my thing here, version 1.01. Very good. Manual. And you can see data is at the top level. Looks great. Everything is here. Press OK. All right, it's installed. Like I said, this has Fallout 4 script extender scripts. We don't need to activate 0.6.23, but it should have everything here. Let's take a look. Right away, you notice the only two things we're getting is the London World Space ESM, the London World Space DLC book.esp. Baka is now gone, just like the note said. So when we come over to our data tab, we're going to do something a little additional here. We go to data. We can see everything that's being injected into the game. So if you're unfamiliar with the data tab, it's going to take everything that's in the left panel here, compile it into a list so you can see everything that's being inserted into the game. And this is what's going into the game itself once you press run using F4SE. Under plugins, you will see the config.toml. This is the configuration file for Buffout 4. You can close that down if you wish to make edits to that. But if you wanted to configure this, you would go back into the main files and look for the configuration file, .toml, and change that with Notepad or Notepad++ or whatever you may have. You can even do that with Visual Studio. So we'll just close that down, but then I wanted to show you that config file. Inside the plugins for F4C, you're going to see a couple things here. You're going to see buffout4.dll because it is a Fallout 4 script extender plugin. You'll see the preload.txt, and you can read that on your own. You'll see other plugins that are added by Fallout London. We don't have anything else here. So you're seeing console util, favorites menu, EX. You will see 3 DLLs from the full-on team, PRKI, version 1.10.163. This is address library. And you can see the XDI, the expanded dialogue interface, DLL. So we've got all these new plugins. Whenever you choose a mod off of the Nexus or other sources, just be aware that these plugins are pre-installed and you may have script conflicts if you add them here. So just wanted to let you know that those are what they are. If you wanted a full rundown of the individual mods to look at them, you have Buffout 4, mod number 47359. You have Level Up Menu EX, which is mod number 28822. I will point out that when you open this up and look at it, you have the plugin, the prkf.dll that we do have in the data tab for Fallout London. You have interface, and when I unpacked the BSA, you could see these files in here. These files are in the interface archive, the BA2. What I did not find is the MCM, the mod configuration file for PRKF. And I found that in other mods included in London did not have the MCM mod files needed for the MCM, the mod configuration menu, to work, just to let you know. But most of the other things were in there. So it does work, but it brings into a question, if you wanted to use the MCM, how do you change this? Because it doesn't have the MCM files in it. Anyway, moving on. Console utilities, very important mod, mod number 51951. Favorites menu EX, mod number 66690. The file contents, once again, it has an MCM configurable, but it was not included in the data folder for Fallout London. The address library, mod number 47327. This is what makes all those non-version dependent mods work with the Fallout 4 script extender. That is mod number 47327. Extended dialogue interface, that's XDI, mod number 27216. Once again, it has an MDCM, but these settings did not get over into the data file. Like I said, under your data tab, you do not see anything here for the mod configuration menu. I want to point that out because that came up to my question, is that I couldn't control things using the mod configuration menu in testing Fallout London, even after I installed the mod configuration menu as a mod to see if I can control these. I could not. Keep that in mind for future mod references. If you want to use the MCM to control any of these, you will not be able to. All right, let's get back to work. The next thing we're going to address is the ini files, the Fallout 4.ini and the Fallout 4 prefs.ini. This is located in the GOG drive, Fallout London, where you downloaded all the mods, and then the config folder. What we're going to need to do is update the ini files inside of Mod Organizer because we use profile-specific ini file. So let's open up our profile at folder, and you can see Mod Organizer 2, Fallout 4, Profiles, Fallout London. You have the Fallout 4 ini and the Fallout 4 prefs.ini. All we'll need to do is highlight both of those, copy them, and place back into our profiles for Fallout London. And you can see we're replacing two files with the same names. Go ahead and replace those files. And I know these are the old files because if we go to display, if you look at the file folder, this has not been organized by Bethany Pi, and your resolutions are going to be off. It's here somewhere. I forget where they are. And my preferred resolution is back down to 1080p. So these need to be reconfigured. To reset your resolutions and your preferences for video inside of the Fallout 4 prefs.ini, you're going to need to either go to the Fallout launcher and run it through Mod Organizer. This is not like running the Fallout launcher in Steam. It will not update things. It will just bring up initial hardware setting. My preferred way of doing it is through Bethany Pi. Now, if you watch the original installation video, you've already seen me do this, but I just want to touch on the most important thing in this. So select Fallout 4, go to Setup, change our profile directory to the correct location, and it's already set because the last one I modified. Steam Apps Common, Mod Organizer 2, Fallout 4, Profiles, Fallout London. Then you see the resolutions at 1920 by 1080. We need to change that to 2560 by 1440 because that's what I use. And we'll set it to Ultra. As I stated in the initial installation video, do not, under any circumstance, apply recommended tweaks. It will mess up the ini files for Fallout London. Do not do this. Just set your resolution, set it to Ultra. There's a couple other things you can set in here. Controller settings, you can turn off controller. If you use keyboard and mouse, that's fine. That worked fine in testing. Visual, turn off motion blur. That's it. Now, when you save it, once again, pay attention to these boxes. Do I want to save the profiles for London? Yes. Do I want to save profiles for London? Yes. That's it. Close it down. Look for any other boxes that may pop up pointing to documents, which it did not. So we're good to go. Bethany Pi is a great tool. I won't say anything else about it. It's great. And now we'll come to our last thing, and this is where I think the Fallout London team made a mistake. Here you'll see Fallout 4 and its prerequisite XSE plugin preloader are included in the newest build of Fallout London. Great. Okay, let's go find those. In our GOG folder, Fallout London, there are two files here. You see the XSE plugin preloader.xml, and you'll see win.http.dll. And that got me like, wait a second, that's not what I have. On the left side, you have the GOG Fallout London source files. And then on the right, we have our Fallout 4 main directory. When I set this up to run Buffout in my testing, I downloaded XSE, installed it ahead of time for the correct version of the game, which is 1.163. Let me go show you the two files that we have here. We have the XSE plugin preloader.xml, and then up here, the iphp.api.dll. Looking at the XSE plugin preloader for Fallout 4, which is XSE, go to the files, there's something very important you need to see. Right at the top, the main file directory is XSE plugin preloader 0.3. That's version 0.3. It is compatible with the Fallout 4 Next Gen Update. When you look at the file contents, WinHttp.dll. This is the newest version. I remember this file from when I had the Next Gen version of Fallout 4 running. The version you need for 163, the pre-Next Gen version, is all the way down here at the bottom. It is version 02.5.1. And you see I've already gotten it. And when you preview those file contents, you can see that weirdly named DLL right there. So I think that the Fallout London team is using the wrong version of the DLL for XSE. Just to confirm things, I downloaded both and put the archives here on my desktop. This is the old version. You can see in the archive, you have that weirdly named DLL. And in the new version for Next Gen, WinHttp.dll. I think they've got the wrong one. Under changelogs for XSE, version 0.3, updated to support Fallout Next Gen Updated, switched to WinHttp.dll. Oh, I see. Okay, so there's a problem here. The instructions from Fallout London are telling you need to insert both of these files, the WinHttp DLL and the XSE plugins preloader.xml, into your main directory of Fallout. But those are the wrong files, and you're going to need an older version, just like I have here. So I'm going to remove them for right now, just for ease of sake. I'm going to show you this exactly. It is mod number 33946, the XSE plugin preloader F4 in the Fallout 4 Nexus. Go to the Files tab, scroll all the way down here to the bottom, the XSE plugin preloader F40251. Manually download this. Put it on your desktop, take both the files out that archive, and put them into the main directory, Steam CMapS Common Fallout 4, for Fallout 4. Now you've got version number 1.6.3 in here. I think that's the correct way of doing it. Going back to the XSE page, all the instructions you see here are for the newest version, the next gen version of Fallout 4. If you go to the posts, you can see a post from Karandra, the mod author of XSE. You can see the instructions are for the latest version, and then the poster asks for clarification. Do I just pop them in the directory? Yes. So you don't need to be adding anything about arguments in your mod organizer tab. That's why I'm saying when you go to start mod organizer 2 for F4SE, you want to leave the arguments tab blank. Okay, let's go through a couple last things. Remember on the GOG webpage, at the very bottom, you had patch 2.3 revision 2 to version 1.01. Let's see what that does. I downloaded it and put it on my desktop, and you have it right here. Let's run it. Yes, select English. Update already applied. Good. We'll exit out of that. Back in our GOG shortcut for Fallout London Games GOG, we were looking for a bat file in the data folder, the London World Space clearup.bat. Let's run that. Deleting deprecated files, F4SE plugins, backascript heap.dll does not exist. F4SE plugins backascript heap.toml does not exist. And the Baka framework.esm does not exist. Okay, so what this is telling you is that, hey, we looked in where we expected to see the files in your main directory, because that's what it's looking for. They don't exist. That's because we're using Mod Organizer 2. This doesn't have those plugins. So you don't have to worry about that. That's all that program, that cleanup script was doing, was looking for files that may have been left over during the update. Because when you update the files, it can only add, it doesn't subtract. So that's why they included that clearup.bat, is that it's a different function to take things out of the main directory. And they don't exist anymore, so nothing you need to worry about. Those are all the parts and pieces. We got the data folder installed here. We've got our 2 new ESMs. We've got the new data for F4SE and all the plugins for buffout4, a config file if you wanted to change this in there, the DLLs here, all of those stuff are there. We've also installed the XSE components into the main directory. Let's go ahead and run it and see if we get it right. So we'll set to F4SE and select run. Okay, we've made it to the start screen. Goody good. We have the newest version 1.1.01. Very good. Settings, we got F4SE 0.623 set. I'm going to turn down the audio. And you notice right away I was able to go to my controls, keyboard and mouse right away. So let's hit new and see what happens. Okay, we made it all the way to the character creation screen. And I will say, compared to our initial installation video that we made, loading into the game was much faster. Loading into a new character creation screen was much faster. In testing with the old version of XSE, it did take longer with the files provided by Fallout London. So I think using the older version of XSE, version 0251, that I showed you and installing it this way, it made it much faster, which is exactly the point of using XSE. So I think we've got a success here. I'm going to QQ out. Using the 2 provided files for XSE provided by Fallout London in the update was slower than using 0251 located at the bottom of the Files tab for XSE on the Fallout Nexus. But we've got everything running, everything's ready to be further modded going forward, which leads me to I need to make a video on essential mods, but that's a different video. Everything will work here. In the future, the download and update process should be exactly the same as what you've just seen here. So I won't need to make any further videos now that I know how they're doing the update process. Happy gaming to you. Enjoy Fallout London. It is a fabulous game. And now that they've got some bugs fixed at it, it should be even better. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, please hit the like button. And if you're a new subscriber, please hit the subscribe button. It makes me happy. My name's Cal. I'm from Dirty Weasel. And I'm signing off.